Hello there, welcome to episode 1 of Diabolical Documentaries. I don't know what you can see out that window, perhaps only the reflection of Cineworld and my mobile phone, but that is the stadium of Northampton Town FC in England's third tier. But anyway, you've seen a lot of my pub vlogs now. I drink a lot of beer, it seems. So I just wanted to demonstrate that I'm not against the odd cup of coffee also. So here in Starbucks today, other coffee brands are available. But yeah, I thought, I've got a lot of opinions to offer, I'll ramble on. Some people will want to listen to it, many won't. But the topic of today's documentary, episode 1, is the burning question that many have, but it's a question, even the question annoys me, I've got to be honest. But we have to stay calm and rational to try and win the debate. No point getting angry about it. But the question is darts a sport? Now, central to this concept working will be engagement, so do please drop me a comment, whether you agree or disagree. I don't mind if people disagree. Try me. I promise not to bite anyone's head off. So do drop a comment. So yeah, here in a Cineworld today. I'm not going to the cinema. Very, very, very rarely have I ever been to the cinema. But yeah, hijacking Cineworld for a Starbucks coffee today. And I think the best place to start is with a Google definition. So let's have a look at what is the definition of sport. So sport pertains to any form of physical activity or game, often competitive and organised, that aims to use, maintain or improve physical ability and skills while providing enjoyment to participants and, in some cases, entertainment to spectators. Now that is, to me, darts very obviously fits within that definition. It's a physical activity or game, take your pick. Competitive and organised, yes. Maintain or improve ability and skills, yes. Providing enjoyment to participants, and in some cases entertainment to spectators, yes, of course it is. Now, the way this debate gets framed by those who don't wish darts to be regarded as a sport is often the question gets asked, is darts a sport or a game? Well, a game can be defined as a sport anyway, as we've just seen, but it's a silly question. Is it a sport or a game? Well, is football a sport or a game? Don't you go to a game of football? You go for a game, you go and watch a game of rugby. It's a silly argument. So yes, of course it is a sport. So what else can we look at? What other factors other than the definition? Well, darts has been televised consistently, constantly, in one form or another since the 1980s. The PDC, the Professional Darts Corporation, has been providing World Championships and other ranking events since 1992. So that sounds like a well-established sport. So yeah, we've got televised darts majors in 13 different countries hosting these events, and fully appreciate the World Championship final we've just seen. Luke Littler mania certainly kicked in, and we saw a spike in TV figures, but the TV figures were there before. But let's just look at what we've just seen. 3.71 million watched the World Championship final. That was 143% up on last year's final, and over 27.5 million views on social media. So I think it's fair to say darts is attracting a global mass audience that can only constitute that of a sport. Let's also look at the prize money it generates. Now obviously obscene amounts of money, we're all very jealous. We don't get paid for playing darts because we're not very good. But £2.5 million prize pot for the World Championships alone. £500,000 for the winner. Okay, maybe that doesn't mean it's a sport per se, but do you know what? To me, it's another body of evidence that it's just a credible sport that is making the elite players within it very wealthy indeed, and is providing a living for many other provincial peripheral players. So in closure, wrapping up, last year is let's look at the fact it's a precision sport for me. Now I don't hear people question snooker. Is it a sport? Is it not? I'm a snooker fan, and maybe people do question that. I don't hear that. So why is that the case? Snooker is not necessarily any more physical, and I'll come on to the physicality of it in a moment. Physicality of darts. You got many other sports where you don't necessarily have that physicality. To me, a sport is physical or precision or both. Now let's look at the physicality of darts. Now if you've seen me, I'm not the healthiest specimen. I could certainly do with losing quite a few kilograms, so I'm not fit, but a lot of people who denounce darts a sport will never have played it. You try playing darts for hours on end, as these guys do. Your arm hurts, your feet ache, your brain hurts. How many times have you wanted to play darts? You haven't been asked because you're too tired. I've played long darts matches with mates, and you actually start to get a bit fatigued after a while. So yeah, it isn't just sitting on your sofa. You're still moving, and everything has to work in coordination. So there's an element of physicality. It isn't marathon running or rugby union or boxing, absolutely not, but there's an element of physicality. The second last element of this debate I'd like to discuss is how difficult the game is. Again, a lot of these people that denounce darts will not potentially have thrown a dart. Darts is difficult. Give 3 darts to someone who hasn't thrown them before, and they probably won't hit the board. Excuse me. To me, something would lack credibility of a sport if we really could genuinely all be that good at it. Now, darts is a very accessible sport. It's cheap to set up. It's accessible. You can play it at home, play it down your pub. It's not like tennis or whatever. But the game is so difficult. So it is years and years of dedication to get anywhere near the level where you could be even considering turning pro. That years and years of dedication can only mean it's a sport. Okay, so just in summary then, firstly, darts is actually officially a sport if you believe Sport England. So it was recognised by Sport England as a sport in 2005. I'm not sure why it wasn't before then, but I guess that was a transition from it being 100% a pub game into the realms of a sport. But that is 20 years ago now. So yeah, but here's the final point and the biggest point really for me is, why do some people hold the view that it isn't a sport? Now, I'm potentially basing this on some people that I have personally heard say it isn't a sport, but also a perception I've got. It's very simple. It's a matter of class. Those that believe darts is not a sport, for me, it's snobbery. It's people who look down on the working class, people who don't, associate with pub culture. Quite often people will be, people who are anti-football will not like darts. I know there's plenty of people who like darts and don't like football. That's fine. They don't go hand in hand, but there is synergy there. And you don't need negativity like that in your life. You're watching this video, so you must be a darts fan to some degree. Those that try to tell you it's not a sport are just negative influences, trying to detract from your enjoyment of watching darts. It's a staple of the Great British pub, and it's a traditional pub game. Of course it is. It has also now evolved into a sport. The two can run side by side. The current people who run darts are seeking to bring darts back out of the pub and actually, set up darts centres, darts academies. I've recently been to a venue which I'll be putting on the channel soon, which is essentially taking darts out of the pub. It's just set up to go there and pay to play darts. Now, a measure for many of whether something constitutes a sport is its inclusion in the Olympics. It's not binary. Obviously, football only recently came into the Olympics, and a lot of people think it shouldn't be in there. But generally, sports are recognised as such if they're in the Olympics. Now, one of my biggest bugbears, believe it or not, is that the sport of squash is not in the Olympics. Utterly outrageous. Now, about 100 kilograms ago, I used to play squash, and I dream one day of playing squash again. I just don't get why that's not in the Olympics. It's obviously recognised as a sport, it's just not in the Olympics. Now, apparently, the Olympic Committee are considering inclusion of darts in the 2024 Olympics. Well, or so my research tells me. I kind of assume it isn't happening because they'd have to make a decision on that pretty quickly. We're now in 2024. The fact it's being considered, to me, is a good thing. Should darts be in the Olympics? Absolutely yes. And by the way, archery's in the Olympics. So is archery a sport? It's essentially upper class darts. Very different. I mean, you certainly wouldn't want to be playing archery in some of the pubs I've been to, but you wouldn't come out alive. But yeah, the fact the Olympic Committee are looking at it, hopefully that's another step towards it being universally recognised. The people who say darts is not a sport, chances are it's just not their cup of tea, and it's just negative class snobbery, middle to upper class snobbery for me, and they're just jealous of the enjoyment we get out of watching and playing darts. So is darts a sport? Yes, of course it is. Now, please do comment. I won't bite your head off. If you actually believe darts is not a sport, please do express your views in the comments. I'll be gratefully receive any comment. Please like the video, and we'll see you for the next Diabolical documentary. Thanks for watching.